Alrighty, so I think you guys should be able to see the screen by now. And what I'd like you to all do is just have your trading system charts ready to go. What we want to accomplish here is just some fundamental basics as to how to navigate yourself around the chart for the purpose of market structure. And then from there, we can add on little bits as we go. But first and foremost, it's super important to have you all on the same page. So if you don't mind going into your MTOPS Criterion website members area, then there you can go to your trading system. When you click on trading system, you have three markets available to you. That's Bitcoin, gold, and the US30. I think for the purpose of our discussion, I'm going to hang out on Bitcoin today. I had a quick look at gold and the US30 a bit earlier, and it didn't really look super inviting. So today is just going to be a nice, warm introduction as to how you can set this up yourself. And as the week progresses, you're going to get into working this on each market so that we can identify which one of the day is ready to take our profit up with it. So now that you are on the Bitcoin 32 minutes, what you're looking at here is you should just really have the green price action. So I suppose I can get rid of that real quick so we can all be on the same page. What you're looking at here is price action moving along a screen, and there are these lines that box in what we're looking at. So I'm going to quickly discuss that, and then we can dive into identifying lows and highs and how we use that to feed our trend transition indicator so that we can ride a long trend and allow our profits to fill up our accounts. So I'm just going to block off these areas real quick. You can access this tool on the toolbar. Everything I have access to, you do as well. So if you have any questions as to what I'm doing and how to get there, feel free to drop it in the chat. And towards the end of the meeting, I'll get around to that. All right. So what I'm doing here is highlighting this cycle. All right. In trading, like life, there exists cycles. If you look at common examples, for example, like planets out there, they revolve in an orbit. We've got 4 seasons that happen in a year. There's birth and death cycles, the cycle of night and day, and so on and so forth. So what I discovered is that very much like humans, which is obviously what traders are, the market itself also operates in cycles. So to try find the cleanest version of a cycle, I moved around different elements as to what would begin and end in cycle, and then applied it to the market from the highest time frame, and then moved my way down. So I started off with 4 seasons, and then realized that's obviously not my game because there's too much patience that's required there. So I brought it down and brought it down right into a daily cycle that a person fulfills each day, which is typically waking up, getting ready for work, going to work, coming home from work, getting whatever you need to get done, and then going to bed. So we identified already that, for example, the Dow Jones, there is an open bell where many traders from around the world climb into one collective marketplace, and they all focus on there and watch their profits run together. Okay, so in a way that would be conducive towards our research in cycles. However, 1 second, please. Hello, baby. Hello, gorgeous girl. Yum, 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 yum. Yum, 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 yum. That's a gorgeous girl. Yeah. However, not everyone trades the Dow Jones, and not many actually even know about the index options in the States, as a lot of guys have bought into crypto and so forth and not really jumped into what Forex and stocks are all about. So the behavior of what happens at open bell in New York won't necessarily affect the behavior of what happens to the open bell in China or London and so forth. So I realized that if I kept a day cycle as my test point, that information would be too sporadic, as too many people have got too many different ideas in a too short a time frame. So then I stretched it out to a week and averaged out the human behavior in a week, and started that from midnight on a Monday and closed it off to midnight on a Monday the following week and locked that in as a cycle. So by spreading human behavior over 7 days, you get to understand an average of what a human's collective would create in the market space from operating their usual lives, but kind of smoothed out, averaged out. It's a very fascinating study to witness, especially when you see Saturday come in and Sunday happen, and then the start off from the Hong Kong open bell kickoff. So this is what we're looking at right now. We're looking at the start and the end of a full cycle. Oh, my baby girl. Here we go, sweetheart. Within that cycle exists the sacred number of time, which is 4. Okay, so 4 season and so on and so forth. So what links the cycles together? Yes, Bobby Jabs. So just Murphy's Law that she's here with me right now, but just got to wait for mom to get back and then I can hand it over. It's not all baby in the background talking about. So within the cycle, you've got 4 quadrants. Okay, so this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. The purpose for these for these quadrants is pretty magnificent. Yes, baby. As they link the lower time frames to the higher time frames. So yeah, baby. Cuteness. So within one quadrant, you'll have 10 turning points, and I'll get to that in a sec, which is 5 highs and 5 lows. And this evidently, this first quadrant will be the cycle on the lower time frame. Okay? Yes, baby. And not only does it work downwards, but it works upwards as well. So the week will give us the cycles on what's happening above. Okay, so that's how it all links together. Okay, baby. Okay, baby. The other purpose for the cycles is so that, or the quadrants within the cycles, is so that we can correctly space our turning points. Every cycle has 10 turning points in it. So there's 5 highs and there's 5 lows. So this really sets the foundation for our forecast to ascertain where price wants to go to next, because it will be linked in to the energy expended on the previous high and the previous low, or the previous low and the previous high, which we call a transition. So today what we want to do is ascertain which direction the market is overall by seeing where the higher highs or higher lows are forming, and using that to feed the trend transition indicator, the TTI at the top right. Okay, baby. Mwah. Mwah. Okay, baby. All right. Oop. And that will allow us to trade and trend. So, hold on one moment. Hey, gorgeous girl. All right, so sorry to those who haven't had kids yet. You might not enjoy the sound of a baby crying, For guys like myself, it is literally one of the most beautiful sounds on the planet. So just once again, yeah, just waiting for mom to come back after picking up baby from school. Other baby, big boy baby, and then I'll be able to handle over. Oh my sweetheart. So if you enjoy the sound of a little girl cry, you're welcome. Not in a weird way. Like it's come out a bit weird there. On that note, guys, like I see a lot of crypto people get treated like a god, the Messiah, the second coming of Christ, or something to that effect, just because they promise profits, and the promise of profit is like this ability to turn someone's life around or activate greed within their life or something to that effect. As you can hear, I just a guy who really worked hard, got obsessed with the markets, find this information out, but underneath it all, just a person, a dad, a father. There we go. Oh, hello, mom. There's mom. Oh, that's Papa. Yay, mom. And once again, this is the main reason why I want to reach out and help others who are in a similar situation. Not to be a dad or a father in particular, but just good people who are willing to invest time, effort, and energy in themselves to create a exponentially better life. And let me tell you, just on that note, that full-time trading isn't romantic. It is a rough day on the golf course, where you constantly are learning about yourself and fighting your inner beliefs of lack and scarcity and trying to overcome the inner work that needs to get done. That's so much easier said than done, even if it doesn't sound easy. So a lot of guys kind of get rattled by that, take on their losses, and they jump off the journey along the way, which is something I've seen time and time again, being in groups, being around other traders, and so on and so forth. So when the whole pandemic thing, I don't really want to go down that road, kicked in, there's a humanitarian side to me that realized that I got to stop just being selfish with all of this information and start putting it together for others to do it, to treat the markets with respect and to handle trading in the correct way. And let me tell you right now, and I'm sure you've seen it everywhere, there are amplitudes of bullshit guys out there trying to just, I don't know, lead people astray, get them into a negative space, fill their own pockets, and then disappear. I've seen it time and time again. So just to get back into what we're talking about here, trading, it takes a certain amount of discipline, which I know you've heard before, but a few people are able to say what kind of discipline. All right. It takes knowledge, it takes patience, also takes self-control. Okay. These things don't come naturally to humans. I can tell you that firsthand. I will admit that I myself don't always follow the rules. Sometimes treat trading like a online sport, or something crazy, whatever the circuit. I just love it so much that patiently sitting on my hands is a real long talent that I've had to acquire. Okay, so what we've built here has been from the ground up. We've built this from scratch, and we've built it every step of the way in line for traders to not only trade successfully, but to have something that simply has their back. Okay, so what we're going through over here, if it goes over your head, it's okay. You're a human. Don't stress about it. We've got videos to talk about that. We've got a great community. Basically, it's you in the middle of all of the support circles, and then the rest, including the software, including the videos, including everyone else, is there to support you ultimately. Okay? I haven't been outside of the comfortable gates that we've created for a long time, but I'm told by many of my guys that it's not the case out there. There's a whole bunch of look at me, listen to me, guys posting GIFs and all that kind of stuff. That's not our crowd. We're not about the free crowd. Like, we specifically move ourselves away from that kind of crowd because we understand the value of attention and blah, 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 all that stuff. So let's get back into what we're looking at over here. I think to sum that point up, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a human, understand what the pressures of life is, understand my own human limitations. And that's why we've literally taken the best of what I've seen over the last 5 years, including my discoveries, including WD GAN, including astrophysics, numerology, psychology, the number-based system. That there's just so much that's gone into this. It would actually melt your mind if I had to get into it all, which I saw as a problem, because I want to have this taught at school. So much has gone into this, and we put it into a melting pot and just try to just simmer it down, so that we just get the core essentials of what needs to get done to have a person in profit, and just double down and triple down and focus on that. So when guys say trade with trend, they have no idea what they're talking about, because step one is they haven't learned correct market structure. So let's get back into market structure from that segue. Okay, so all time frames link together through the quadrants, which is inside the cycle. All right, and this is why you see at the top of the screen you have all these different options over here. These are different time frames to give us what's happening from a dominant trend direction, and B, to accommodate all different styles of traders. I touched on it yesterday, and I'll just go very lightly over it today. You can be a day trader, someone who wants to really turn things around and is willing to sit at the computer once a day at least, for at least half an hour. Or you can be a swing trader, you can be a medium-term trader, you can be a medium-term investor, and also a long-term investor. So those who often kind of shy away from the idea of trading because they've got a business or whatever the reasons they may have, ultimately I think it's because they don't believe they have the talent to trade, and it is the talent, believe you me. Then they kind of either give it to a fund manager or just hope. They hope that someone else does a better job than they do, and they say, I'm an investor, I'm not a trader. The reality is that anyone putting money into the market, it comes down to them being a trader, because your entry is incredibly important. Your exit is incredibly important. The guys who hodl over years, I mean, I take my hat up to them for that kind of discipline, but also the amount of wasted profit from them just holding along there. I mean, it's great. Everyone's heard that story. I bought it for $1. I went to $5. I'm a hero. High fives, everybody. No, dude. The amount of ups and downs, the zigzag in between those 2 points would have made you so much more if you simply just knew what you're doing. So if you are someone who's got your own business and you're running around with kids and life is keeping you busy because you like to be busy, you still should be able to apply this to all of the markets that you're interested in, as it will correctly protect your capital. It will also, you will avoid ignorance, and you'll also see that a lot of the markets aren't actually that friendly to get into. And if they don't abide by the structure that we're about to show you, then avoid them at all costs. I mean, it's so tempting to get into a penny stock. It's so tempting to get into a shitcoin and then someone pump it and then disappear. And I've seen guys lose 97% of their accounts. Like, it's been a common thing. All excited, greed, didn't sell out in time, boom. Basically lost $10,000 in a couple of hours. Phoning me, oh, please save me. My wife's going to find out. I'm suicidal, blah, blah, blah. I mean, $10,000 is mild. I don't want to get into the sub stories, but market structure is detrimental to markets as a whole, investing or trading. So even if you decide to continue with your own method, which is totally cool, please at least learn and double down and apply exactly what we have over here. All right. So the start and end of a cycle, and this will move upwards and also apply down to your smaller time frames. And all the rule sets remain exactly the same, up and down, which will blow your mind when you see it's in action. This shouldn't be possible. It just simply is. Okay, so less talking, more action. All right, so there's your cycle. Inside here are the quadrants. These quadrants connect to the higher cycles and the lower cycles. And we're going to use this to ascertain which direction the price is moving, how far it's going to keep on doing so, and what to do with that information. Okay, so on your screens, once again, well, it feels like a long time ago that I've asked you to do this. Sorry for the long interlude. Back to the show. Okay, so we're on our trading system. We're on our Bitcoin chart, and that's the 32-minute chart. Okay, if you need to get to a 32-minute chart, it's up here. The reason why we're using the 32-minute chart is because we want to have the average of human behavior between the cleanest cycle one can acquire, which is from a Monday to a Monday. And from this, we're going to start building our market structure. Okay, so over here is your toolbar. You can move it. It's quite nifty. And then in that toolbar, you're going to see this icon that says turning point. It's also the button, hot button or shortcut button A on your keyboard. Oh, well, the meeting's about to end in 10 minutes. We might have to do another meeting. So just go over to Parabolic's signals, and I'll put a new meeting link in there in case this one closes up. If you can't attend because you have to get back to work or something like that, we will record it and then give you the recording so you can use this in your own time as well. Okay, so now we clicked onto the turning point, and then we've got to go to the end of the cycle, which is this final low from last week, and move across to where it says properties. Now, we've made it so you can move all of the windows around into any position. I've taken my properties and put it onto the far left. And at the bottom over here of properties, I'm going to take a bit slower just in case I'm losing anyone. You'll see it says number. Okay, so make sure that there's a little blue circle that's selected. And on number, you go to 10. Okay, that'll be the final low of the previous cycle, the 10th turning point. All right, so 10 is now down on your charts. We're going to go to 1. All right, so this price action would have been explained, and unfortunately I cleaned my chart, so the price action back here would have explained as to why this energy came in. But for the time being, we're not going to focus on that, just the fact that it's there. So the next high for this environment would be here. Now, when you put that down, I'm sure some of you are going to ask, well, what about this high? I don't understand why we had to put it there and not there. All right. Each cycle's got 10 turning points and 4 quadrants. Within the 4 quadrants, you're going to have an average of 2.5 turning points. That's just an average. It's not the rule, but something to keep in mind. All right. So when this happens, you have to respect the full cycle of turning points to follow. All right. So if one was over here, the first high was over there, then we would have a bundling of turning points somewhere else, and it would just ruin our forecast. So 1 is over here, and you'll get to understand this better with more experience. And then we'll drop 2 over here because that's the next low. And then this will be number 3. Okay. So go ahead and do that on your charts. 10 on the previous cycle, 1, 2, and 3. And on your keyboard, make sure you don't have caps locks activated. Press the button C. You should see that there is focus mode now that is entered in. All right, so this works on both light mode and dark mode. And the purpose for this is to just rule out the noise around the charts so that your subconscious mind, which is looking to make trade decisions, isn't putting up with nonsensical information. So we do that just to bring focus to the work area, okay, which is this, and take our next steps from there. So this one is a little bit tricky. As I see this environment over here, created from my decision of putting 20.3 over there, the second high over there, now has this area of price breaking out the top here. Okay, so that tells me, although I've tried to obey correct market structure, that there's something up. that I need to consider. So I would normally have the forecast built up over here from the previous week's cycle, but because I started fresh with you guys, I don't necessarily have the reasoning as to why this is right now. And just on that,